Hey YouTube, today we figure out if we can actually beat Pokemon Crystal with only randomized gift Pokemon. We pick up a Paras as our starter and we're going to keep her on the team obviously, because she's given to us. We name her Zambi and we are going to have a fun time beating Falkner. We have a rival battle here. I did level up to level 8 just to be on the safe side. I did paralyze the Chikorita and then I just went for Scratch. And I take down Faulkner after a few tries. After a lot of tries actually. I had to be level 20. And his Pidgeotto had to be paralyzed for me to actually win. I then pick up the Togepi and I pick up the egg that actually contains Togepi, but this time it actually contains Exato and I nickname him Orherki. I haven't really used Exato before, so this was a fun one to use, even though it doesn't get a psychic type move until way later in the game, until the post game actually. Next up is Bugsy Battle and we win pretty easily because we just spam Peck on his entire team and we take that down pretty easily. If we didn't get the flying type here, I would be screwed. Next up is a rival battle. We start with Nightshades and Lead and Peck on the Ghastly, but we do get cursed, so we have to switch out there. We go for scratches on the Zubat because Zubat can't do anything to my Zambi because he doesn't have a flying type move yet. We paralyze Bayleaf and then we go for Leech Life until we actually take it down pretty easily. Next up we get a special egg from the Dickerman. It's usually a shiny, but it's not this time around. We catch a Kabutops and we nickname him Sniper, or her Sniper. And we get another gift Pokemon on the team, which is really good. Next up we pick up Kenya. Kenya is going to be super useful. She's a Sneasel. She's going to get a lot of experience and she's going to be super strong. So I can't wait to use that. We beat up Whitney pretty easily because we have Sniper on the team and her team can't really hurt her unless the Clefairy gets a grass type move with the Metronome. But Kenya picks up the kill of on the Miltank there because Sniper goes down, but we win pretty easily. We pick up a Squirtle instead of an Eevee. We name him Leonardo, and he's going to be a pretty useful team member as well. We battle Hunter here. We battle our rival here again. We start against Hunter. We take that down pretty easily. Next up is Magnemite. We go with Leonardo, I believe. Or we stay in with Kenya. We go for Ice Punches. But we get taken down eventually because of course. We go for Dizzy Punch on Magnemite. I have nothing for this actually. We nearly take that down, but he goes down, or Sniper goes down, but Leonardo manages to pick up the win there. Next up is a Bayleaf again. I go for Pex on that because it can't really hurt me. And last but not least is his Zubat, so we go for a couple of Pex on that and we take that down pretty easily. Next up we battle Morty. We take a lot of damage against Ghastly, but Sniper manages to pick up the kill there, but Hunter kills it. We go for Feint Attack on that. Hunter. He gets taken down in one shot by Gengar. Gengar is actually really scary. Zambi manages to paralyze him and do a little bit of a damage to that. Leonardo takes it down eventually with Ice Punches. And last but not least is another Hunter that gets taken down eventually by Kenya. Next up is a Primeape, which is Chuck's team. We have Key, but I still want to paralyze a Primeape there before I take that down. I nearly get taken down myself because I only have Peck at this point. We paralyze Poliwrath right away, and because we don't have a grass type move on our grass type, we have to slowly chip away at it, but we get taken down eventually. So we go to our war turtle and we start spamming strength until we take that down. We get a shiny Ditto instead of a shiny Gyarados we usually get, but we take that down pretty easily. Next up, battle Price. Price is pretty easy, but his Dugong loves spamming res, so this is one long battle. For no reason at all, because he keeps resting when we don't need him to, which is really annoying. Just this battle alone took so long. He killed my entire team, or my nearly entire team, until I eventually had to sack off Shaki as well, which is usually a Shuckle, but it's a Kabuto. I didn't add that to the team, but I had that as a father. Eventually, only Leonardo actually survives, but luckily his last Pokemon is Piloswine and it goes down to a couple of swords, so that's really easy. Next up is a Jasmine battle, and I don't have anything to deal with a Steel type, so her Magnemites actually managed to take down Key and Sniper, but I did a lot of damage, so I could eventually take down Magnemite with a couple of ass punches. I had to try to freeze Steelix here, but luckily just one surf from Leonardo is enough to take that down. Next up is Team Rocket Executive Battle, and I just spam Nightshades because they don't have a Psychic type move on my Key. Key goes down, but he manages to take down one Coughing. Sniper manages to take down two more Coughings. Actually, three more Coughings. Then Obizin comes out. I do manage to take that down as well, and the last Coughing comes out, but it explodes. It takes down a Kabutops, but we luckily win there because we have team members alive. Next up is another rival battle. His Golbat does a lot of damage to my team. His Magnemite is scary as always. It manages to paralyze Leonardo, but luckily it goes down to 2 surfs. Next up is his Meganium. His Meganium is not a problem because we have Zambi here. We get poisoned, but we do manage to paralyze that. Key gets taken down. Sniper gets taken down, but then we go for Ice Punch Data and we take that down really easily. And next up is another Sneasel, or his Sneasel. Not another Sneasel, he doesn't have two Sneasels. It goes down to 2 surfs. Last but not least is a Hunter, who manages to take down my Leonardo. But two feint attacks from Sneasel actually take that down, so that's easily dealt with. Next up is the last gym leader, Claire. We start off the battle with a paralyzed Key, but luckily 2 flies take down the first Dragonair. Next up is her other Dragonair. We go into a Kenya, and 2 Ice Punches take that down. Next up is her Kingdra, which is usually a threatening thing. It manages to paralyze my Sneasel, but luckily he manages to freeze her, or he manages to freeze her twice, and the second time she doesn't thaw out, so we take her down before she can actually do any damage to me and take me down. Her last Dragonair goes down to a couple of Ice Punches from Leonardo, so that's pretty easy. We get a Dratini, which is actually a Diglett. We name her Dawn, or him Dawn. And we decide to add him to the team because I like a strong ground type. It's going to be super useful for the steel types we might encounter later. We battle the black belt here and he's pretty easy to take down. We get a Terok or a Politoed in this game for beating him, and we name her Kenya or Kenna, but we don't actually use it because we already have 2 water types. I don't need another one. But it's a pretty interesting one, I guess. I wish that I could use that, but I'm not going to. Next up is the second to last rival battle. His Sneasel goes down to 2 flies. His Magneton manages to take down Leonardo. I go for quick attacks on that. I actually forgot that I have done, which is super stupid, I know. And I know that he is actually a pretty weak mon, but I could take that down. But okay. We take down goal, but eventually, next up is his starter Meganium. I go for Zombie again. And I go for Lich Life straight away. He goes for a Reflect, which is annoying. I do manage to poison him before I actually get taken out. Zombie really didn't do much in this game, sadly. I do try using her more in the post-battle, or the post-game, but she's sadly so slow and weak, and it took her forever to get a grass type move, so she's barely useful, despite being my starter. Next up is Elite 4, we start with Will. We go for a couple of bites with our Leonardo on both the Xatu and Executor. We take those two down pretty easily. We then go for Kenya. And we just spam Shadow Ball on the rest of his team, taking him down pretty easily. The reason Kenya is so high level is because she gets more experience than the rest of my mons, because she has a different OT than me. Next up is Koga. Koga starts with Ariados that goes down pretty easily. Venomoth goes down pretty easily, but it does manage to poison Sniper. Next up is his Fortress, who could do a lot of damage to me if it decided to explode. But it doesn't. I take it down eventually, even though it spells Protect. Next up is his Crobat. I just go for Ice Punch with Kenya and I take that down pretty easily. And last but not least is a Muck. I go for 2 Earthquakes on that and I take that down pretty easily. Next up is Elite for Bruna. I go with Waterfalls on the Hitmontop. I go with Waterfalls on the Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Next up is his Machamp, who could do a lot of damage to me because it has a Rock Slide and I forgot that. It nearly takes down my Key, but 2 Flies take that down. And last but not least is his Onix. I go for Surf with Sniper and I take that down pretty easily. Last is Elite for Karen. Umbreon goes down to a couple of Ice Punches before it can do anything to me. Next up is his or her Vileplume. It goes for Petal Dance, barely doing any damage to me, but 2 Flies take that down pretty easily. Next up is a Murkrow. I go for Dizzy Punch on that. I take that down pretty easily. And last but not least is Gengar. I go for a couple of Surfs. And I take that down pretty easily. Or not last but not least, she has one more Pokemon I forgot. She has a Houndoom, but it goes down to a single Earthquake. Last but not least, we have Champion Lance. I go for a couple of bites on Gyarados. I have nothing to deal with Gyarados actually. I do manage to confuse it and I take it down because it hurts itself in its confusion, so that's pretty good. Next up is his Dragonite. I'm not sure who I want to go in with. He goes for Thunder, he hits it, and sadly our Sniper goes down. I go for a couple of Nightshades on that. I get taken down pretty easily. I don't want to spam Kenya, but I think that I have to spam Kenya here and kill the rest of his team. I go with Surf and Charizard, taking that down pretty easily. I go for Ice Punch on the Dragonites and I take those two down pretty easily. I hate relying on just Leonardo and Kenya, but they were pretty much the MVPs on this team. And we enter the Hall of Fame here with our team, which is really good. Sniper didn't do much, but he did manage to confuse a Gyarados, so that's pretty good. And Zambi barely did anything, but we try using her against Lieutenant Surge. She does take down the Raichu and the Electrode, but that's about that. She can't do anything else. I just spam Earthquake on the rest of his team and take him down pretty easily. I do try going against Electrode with my Zambi, but she gets taken down by Explosion, which is really sad. But we did defeat Surge pretty fast. I do try going against Sabrina with my Zambi, but she gets taken down by Espeon before she can do anything. So Kenya has to pick up the slack and just spam Shadow Ball on the rest of her team and taking it down pretty easily. Next up is Tangela. I wanted to use my Zambi against Erika's team because they are grass types, but Tangela manages to put me to sleep and I don't wake up in time, so Zambi sadly goes down. Slowly but surely. She does manage to take down the Tangela, but Victory Bell is just too much for her. Because Tangela did too much damage to me. I go for Ice Punch on Victory Bell and I take that down really easily. And a couple of flies take down the Jumpluff and Blossom. I do finally get the Giga Drainade, so Zambi can actually do something in this game, hopefully. Koga is pretty easy now because we have Psychic on our Psychic type finally. And we just spam Earthquake on the rest of his team. Oh, not Koga, Jasmine. I keep forgetting that she's the gym leader here. I do attempt to take down Misty with Zambi, but she only manages to take down one Pokemon before she gets taken down by Lapras. Luckily, we have Blastoise in the back, and he manages to take down Lapras for us. Next up is Quagsire. I wish that I had my Grass type. But two Earthquakes take that down before he decided to attack, and Starmie goes down to Earthquake as well. Doing a lot of damage to me in the process, but not quite manages to taking me down. Blastoise and Zambi finally take down Brock. Zambi finally had a chance to shine because she just spammed Giga Drain on half of his team. Next up was the last rival battle in the Mount Moon. It's optional, but I decided to go against him anyways. We take down his first two Pokemon pretty easily. Zambi is sadly dead here, so I can't use her against Meganium, but two Ice Punches take that down. Golbat is up next. It goes down to a single Ice Punch. And Alakazam is up last, and we just go for Slash Date and take that down. And Gengar is up last for real now, and it goes down to a single Earthquake. I for some reason decide to keep Zambi in against a Blaine, and Blaine takes it down pretty easily with one Flamethrower sadly. But Leonardo takes down the rest of his team with Surf. So that's pretty easy. Last but not least is Gym Leader Blue. And we start with Leonardo against Pidgeot, taking it down with two Ice Punches, but it does nearly get taken down. He manages to pick up the win against a Execute as well, pretty easily. We go for a Fly on Alakazam, barely doing any damage because he used Reflect. And he gets taken down by Alakazam, so does Zombie. We eventually go for a couple of Earthquakes and we take that down. But our team is in a pretty bad shape. We go against Gyarados again, and I have nothing to take this down. So Kenya gets taken out. We manage to win with a Dizzy Punch from Sniper. And we go with Surf on Rhydon. And we go with Surf on Arcanine because Flamethrower barely does any damage to us. Last but not least is Red. I had to battle him a few times. I go for Earthquake on Pikachu, taking that down in one shot. I go for two Psychics on Venusaur, taking that down pretty easily. We go for Zambi against Blastoise. We poison it and we go for Giga Drain. He hits a Blizzard, nearly takes me down. Misses another Blizzard, I go for a couple of more Giga Drains and nearly take it down, but it hits another Blizzard and he takes me down before Zambi can pick up a kill, sadly. I go for my own Blastoise hit and I go for a bite and I take that down pretty easily. Next up is a Espeon. I go for two Shadow Balls and take that down. Next up is a Charizard. I go for Surf Date or for Rollout because I want to the next to last rollout to hit a Snorlax, and it does, and it nearly takes down Snorlax, but Snorlax manages to take down Sniper. I go in for Kenya again and I go for Slash and I take that down and Red is defeated.